Well, I'm Mike Lux. I'm a political consultant here in town, here in D.C. for a lot of different progressive groups, for donors who want to know where to move their money, and for various projects and causes. Sit on a lot of boards, including Center for Progressive Leadership, which is a great organization. So I wear a lot of different hats. Well, I think it's central to it. I don't think good organizations exist without good leaders. End of story. I've seen more organizations either be ruined or slip into dull mediocrity because they had weak leaders. I've seen organizations that I didn't think had much going for them suddenly rise from the mix by having strong leaders. And I think a good organization is all dependent on its leadership, and I don't just mean on the staff level, I mean on the board level as well. But I think in general, organizations just don't go very far without really good leadership. Well, it's clearly central. I think good leaders are leaders in a variety of ways, and they have different strengths. And some leaders communicate by example. So it doesn't always have to be by talking or by writing, but you have to be able to get your message across. You have to be able to motivate people. You have to be able to organize people, and to do that requires excellent communication skills of a variety of kinds. Well, one thing I think is to be flexible. There's a lot of different kinds of situations that organizational leaders or political leaders have to go through, and your ability to think on your feet, to move quickly with what's going on around you, I think is really critical. One of the biggest single downfalls that I've seen is leaders get caught up in the ways they've always done things, and sometimes the way they've always done things isn't the way that it's going to work. So I would say that is probably the single biggest thing. I think keeping your own passion for the work is really important. I always tell people who run organizations, if you're tired of it, if you're not liking the work, you should get out and do something else and just get a change of pace, because a bad leader is almost always someone who's not very inspired by their own work. Well, I think authenticity is extremely important, and I think frankly, I think it's important on several different levels. One is for candidates. I am always telling candidates, I've been telling them this for as long as I've been doing political consulting, don't make the mistake of trying to reinvent yourself in the middle of a campaign. Be who you are. If you're an Al Gore wonk, be a wonk. If you are a fiery populist, be a fiery populist. Don't try to pretend you're something that you're not. And I think the same thing is true in organizations. Organizational leaders have huge jobs, and they're not necessarily going to be good at everything, but they need to be the things that they're good at, they need to be great at, and they need to be focused on, and they need to figure out how to fill in the gaps around them. I think that's critical, but they shouldn't try to do things that they're not good at. They should find other people to do those things, and they shouldn't try to be something that they're not, because that will get them screwed up faster than any other thing. Well, it's a good question, and I'm not sure that there are, because I do think leaders come in a variety of different kinds of packages. I would say, if I were going to pick out some characteristics, one is confidence, because if you don't have confidence, if you don't think that you're going to do a good job, you're not going to be able to inspire other people. I think another is creativity, and like I said before, that ability to think on your feet, to move with the times, to go with the flow and figure out what you need to do to make things happen given the current situation. I think that's crucial. There's a lot of other things that I think are wonderful and important, but if I was going to pick a couple things out, that would be it. Well, first bit of advice I would say is that if you've ever studied it or read about it or taken a class in campaign management, ignore everything that you learn. Not that some of the classes aren't great, because they are, but when you're out in the field for the first time, you should absorb like a sponge everything that is going on the ground and right there for you. So I think that's number one. Number two is to listen to the folks who are there, but to form your own judgments. I think field organizers sometimes go too far one way or another. Either they come in with their own plan, usually that's been told to them by somebody else in the campaign, and they're inflexible in terms of how you do it, and they run into a brick wall with the local folks. Or they listen to the local folks and get all the mythology and all of the personal dynamics, and they hear all that stuff, and it changes what they need to do to get the job done, and it sometimes makes them less effective. I think you've got to have a balance between the two things. Well, in today's world, it means more than it ever has before, because you can do grassroots organizing by going door to door or by making phone calls. You can do grassroots organizing in institutions, in churches, and in schools, and in a variety of other settings. You can also do grassroots organizing by going on the internet and working on the internet, either with organizations or as a blogger. You can do grassroots organizing through the media by doing guerrilla theater in a given setting, and coming up with fun, creative ideas that the media is going to cover in that kind of organizing. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I think it's really important. Again, creativity is crucial. Just to give one example, we organized volunteers in Bob Ney's district to go out and dress up in kilts and play bagpipes at events of his to highlight the fact that he went to Scotland and played golf with Jack Abramoff. It was funny. People had fun doing it. The media loved it. They played it. There was a local news program that played it every 20 minutes, 24 hours in a row. So things like that, get people involved and have fun with it, and that will make your organizing go a lot easier.